Today we'll be delving into a cold case compilation. This is Hold My Sweet Tea. Hey everybody, I'm Holly.
And I'm Pearl. And even though you'll know this before you get to this episode, the merch is out.
Yes, all of our hard work and dedication. Let me tell you, those t-shirt designs were not easy. They were aggravating, but I got them done.
They drove her crazy.
They really did. Huh? Like no one else.
Right. Like nothing else.
Right. But yeah, we got those out, and like I made sure to try to make them as affordable as possible, because we don't want to be charging $35 for a t-shirt, because that's ridiculous. So I tried to get them down as far as I could, and we make a teeny tiny little profit off of them.
Enough chump change to assist in paying for our host and stuff
our
like
monthly
that.
host fees and everything. So it'll be nice.
Yeah, so buy some things.
Yeah, and I've got some cool stuff on there, not just, about our podcast, but there's also just true crime stuff. There's coffee mugs. I got to order me a coffee mug.
Stuff.
Yes.
And there's a coffee mug with our tattoos on it.
Yes, I know. It's so cool. It's our tattoo tea mug. I was just saying today, I found all kinds of cute tea bag tattoo designs. I'm like, oh my God, I'm just going to have tea bags all over me.
Oh my God.
Probably not, but
I was going to say that's going to lead to a lot of really poor jokes.
Right. What'd you get tea bag for?
Right. Exactly.
But,
why you been teabagged so many times?
Right.
So, I just sounded like Bill Clinton a little bit right there.
You did. You were like, where's Monica Lewinsky?
Put a tea bag on her too.
Oh Lord. This one's explicit. We're never going to get out of the explicit category anymore.
We promised to watch our mouths, and we watch them say all kinds of bad things.
Right. I do refrain from the effing word, but as much as possible. Like it forms, but I try not to say it.
Yeah, for sure.
But this weekend I decided to, just step out of my comfort zone and color my hair a different color, and now I am in my Myrtle Snow era. The leader, of the Witches' Council now, because it is bright orange. But I like it.
Yeah, I was like, it's cute. I think it's cute. It's fine.
Like, I don't want to get burned at the stake, but here it is.
I do miss our menu from our old restaurant.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Burned at the cheesesteak.
I know. And those things were so good.
They were very yummy.
Yes.
All right. So what are we doing today?
So, as we were discussing, like you were saying, there's a lot of cold cases that don't have a lot of information.
Right.
You search and you search, and you're like, this case really goes nowhere. It's like, here's the facts. Here's what happened. This person's missing.
That's
Boom.
all we got.
That's it. So those people, as far as podcasting goes, and people who make YouTube videos
and obviously
and stuff,
the news is not reporting
right, and the news. So like those cold cases just sit there, and they don't get any interaction with them, except if you see one, but you would literally have to be searching for cold cases.
Right. Severe lack of exposure.
So I figured I would do a little cold case compilation, and maybe this is something that we can do a little more often because there's so many out there that
Oh, yeah.
have little short stories. So I'm basically going to, go through the information, how the person disappeared, and a phone number if you have any information. Went on up to Arkansas, and I
Yeehaw.
picked 3 short cases, but cases nonetheless that I thought need some exposure because they literally put in there, this one really needs some leads. This one really needs
Yeah, they're like begging for
something,
some direction.
anything. So my first one is April Dawn Andrews. So I'm going to put photos up. April has some age progression photos of when she went missing and what she would look like now.
Okay.
So when we do our, videos on TikTok and Facebook posts, I will definitely put those up so you can kind of see what everybody looks like. So April went missing in November 18th of 2006 from Pea Ridge, Arkansas. I'm not sure where Pea Ridge is.
Me either.
Like, you always hear the bigger cities, but I'm like, not sure if it's just like a little small town somewhere area.
I'm gonna Google Map it while you
Google Map it. So she is classified as endangered missing, white female. Date of birth is April 14th, 1991. So she was 15 years old when she went missing. So now she would be 34. At the time of her disappearance, she was 5'4", 100 pounds. So she was a little thing at 15, small. She had a brown sweater on, a black halter top, light brown corduroy pants, and multicolored sneakers. Sneakers. Not sneakers. Snickers.
Snickers.
I always have issues saying that word. I don't know. I'm always like tennis shoes. Sneakers. But, she had like blonde hair, blue eyes, and just the cutest little girl.
It looks like Pea Ridge is 9.9 miles north of Bentonville.
Oh, okay.
So
Well,
everybody knows where
Yeah.
Walmart's
Right.
main.
And if you ever work
hub.
for Walmart, they make sure you know where Bentonville is, and
Yeah.
they drill it into your head. First job out of high school.
Yeah,
Walmart.
fun times.
You had to watch all the videos and do all the stuff, and they're like, this is how it came about. But the details of her disappearance. So April was last seen in Pea Ridge, Arkansas, like I said, on November 18th of 2006. She had told her mother that she was going to go to the Pea Ridge Church of the Nazarene to look at some clothes the church was giving away.
Okay.
So I guess, weekly that people would donate and they would give away clothes. So she wanted to go look, like any teenager, clothes, And I guess her mother really didn't worry about it because small town.
And she's going to the church.
Yeah, and she's going to the church.
Harmless.
So, as she went down there, the church was like just down the street from April's home at Kings Lane Apartments. And she went down, and about an hour or so later, her mom was kind of getting worried and
So like that's a really long time to be looking through clothes.
Yeah, looking through clothes and stuff. And went out to look for her, and April never made it to the church.
Oh, so she didn't even get there. I was
No.
like hoping you were going to say she
No.
at least did look for clothes and then she was on her way back and maybe didn't make it back, but
Mm-mm.
it sucks either direction.
Right. So the last person to see her was a smaller child. I guess they went around and, talked to people and stuff, who said that she was talking to someone driving an older model brown pickup truck. Now, like, contrary to some published reports, it isn't clear whether she actually got into the truck, but later that evening, her mother reported her missing.
Right.
I would think she did get into the truck because, what happened to her.
Yeah.
So April had a half-sister, Tanya Washburn, and Tanya had reported that April was shy, like shy.
Okay.
She was a mama's girl. She loved her mama. So she was very, if it was a stranger, April said, she wouldn't have talked to him.
Mm-hmm.
She would have completely shied away. And she was also struggling with people bullying her at school.
Oh,
You
that
know,
sucks.
so she really didn't have many friends, and so
I'm
they're
surprised she
thinking,
wanted to
yeah,
go to the church alone.
right, and they were thinking like if it was maybe it was somebody that she knew
Mm-hmm.
and trusted enough to
Go
talk
with
to
it.
and maybe go with them, but didn't know them well enough to be afraid or something of
Right.
them. So April's father had passed away just like right before she had vanished. And April was worried because her mother, was struggling.
Mm-hmm.
And she didn't want to be a financial burden to her family. And she, I guess that's why she was going to the church to look for clothes and stuff. So April was listed as a runaway, which I hate that.
Yeah.
You see so many cases, and they're like, well, do you think
Especially
she
when,
ran away?
yeah,
This girl
no.
is shy as can be. She's a mama's girl. She's not going to run away.
Yeah, that just doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
There's no other indicators for
No.
that. I don't understand how you
Right.
immediately jump to that conclusion.
And also, if she is a runaway, so what? She's 15. Go find her. Go,
Yeah.
like, at least help. So she's now classified as a missing person.
Good.
But, at first they had put her as a runaway. So there have been unconfirmed sightings of her in the northwest Arkansas since her disappearance, but as of today her case remains unsolved. But if you have any information, or if you live in that area and you've seen, the brown truck or April or anything like that, call the Pea Ridge Police Department at 479-451-8220, and give them a tip if you've seen her. And like I said, I will have pictures up so you will know what she looks like and with her age progression. And I think that's just sad that they
Yeah.
they handle these cases like that.
That happens a ton.
Mm-hmm. So my next one is Mr. Sylvester Nicholson. So Sylvester Nicholson was last seen in Little Rock, Arkansas on March 6th of 2003. He is classified as endangered missing. He is a black male, and at the time he went missing, he was 75 years old.
Oh gosh.
He would be 92 today. He was 5'9", 155 pounds. At the time he went missing, he was wearing a dark colored shirt, a burgundy coat and pants, and a gray hat. I was like, Sylvester looks slick.
Yeah.
That description, I was like, sir. And, he had black hair and brown eyes. And the only reason I say, he's 92 now, but there could be a possibility because his family described him as an avid walker.
Mm-hmm.
Even at 75, he was mentally sharp.
It's good.
So he knew what he was doing.
Sure. And hey, I'm all about still figuring out where the heck they went because even if he's not alive anymore, his body is somewhere.
Right. So at least something for the family.
Right.
If anybody had information. He does suffer from Bell's palsy, which is a form of facial paralysis. So, he had a little bit of I guess you would say numbness, but it's just uncontrollable nerve on one side of his face. So, he had that. So that was a very distinguishing characteristic of his. Though there's very little information about Sylvester or his disappearance, we do know that Sylvester was last seen walking the 5,000 block of Highway 565 in Little Rock, Arkansas. Since that day, he has not been seen or heard from and remains missing. And I'm sure a lot of people in town knew him because if he was an avid walker and he was all over the place, everybody knew Mr. Sylvester,
Yeah, they had to. Yeah. You would have to be able to recognize him because of that.
Yeah. But again, this case remains unsolved, and it's considered to be a cold case by investigators who have run out of leads to investigate. They have nothing more to go on. He just like these kids in the front yard, just
disappear.
Vanished.
Yep.
Yes. But
keep telling y'all, quit going out the front.
Right. But, somebody somewhere out there, I mean, Little Rock's not a tiny place.
No.
So somebody out there somewhere has some information about Sylvester's disappearance or his whereabouts. But if you do, please contact the Pulaski County Sheriff's Office at 501-340-6600. And, let's find out what happened to Sylvester.
For sure.
Yeah, I love that name. I say Mr. Sylvester.
I just see the cat.
Yeah, Sylvester the cat. Yeah, but I mean, it happens a lot to elderly people, and a lot of those cases, they're like, oh, well, did they have dementia? Did they wander off? No, he was mentally sharp. He was an avid walker. He was in good health.
So completely unrelated.
Right. Mm-hmm.
My sister's neighbor,
yeah.
His name is Sylvester.
Oh.
Hilariously enough, her husband keeps calling him Felix.
Like Felix the cat.
And I don't think I think it's just he keeps forgetting, but he's like black and white cat is how he remembered this.
Yeah.
And they're both black and white cats.
Oh. Felix the cat.
Funny.
That is funny. All right. And then my third case, cold case. And I'm going to try to say this name very slowly so I don't butcher it.
All right. Good luck.
Her name is Patsy DeLuise Destelia Riddens Clark. Whew. So Patsy Clark.
Yeah.
I'm like, she has a long name.
That's a lot. That's a big old mouthful, right. That's for sure.
So Miss Patsy, she went missing on March 4th of 1987 from Little Rock, Arkansas. I'm like, what y'all got going on, Little Rock up there? But she is classified as endangered missing. She is a white female. Her birthday is May 20th of 1931. It's a day after my birthday.
Mm.
Not 1931, but...
I was going to say, you definitely weren't born in 1931.
So when she came up missing, she was 55. So... Again, that would put her in the category of she'd be 93 today.
Mm-hmm.
Never know.
You don't.
Nope. They list her height and weight as between 5 foot and 5'3", 165 pounds to 180 pounds. So it's kind of up in the air of, how tall or how much she weighed.
Okay.
According to my license.
Right.
It's completely different.
You never really know.
So... Miss Patsy had graying brown hair, as all of us do in our elder years.
Right. The older we get.
Right. The gray comes through.
The whiter our hair becomes.
Green eyes. And she had previously fractured her pelvis and lower left leg. So she had scars on her forehead and across the bridge of her nose. I'm like, poor Patsy.
Did she get in an accident, I wonder, then?
No. In the story, I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
But she also had a C-section scar on her abdomen.
Okay.
So the details of her disappearance, Patsy was last seen by her ex-husband in Little Rock, Arkansas on March 4th of 1987. Although they were divorced, they still lived together. I guess it was one of those situations where they were like,
we can't afford to
right.
So I'll just stick it out. Yeah, okay.
So her kids say that she had a very, I guess, tumultuous relationship. It was not the safest place to be. So there was abuse that happened and stuff. So I would think that's where the facial scars and stuff came from. But it could have been from an accident.
Well, the only reason I ask is because of the hip thing and all of that. So, okay.
So I'm like, I don't want to jump to any conclusions on that, but I don't know. It didn't go into detail on that part.
Gotcha.
So her ex-husband stated that he saw her getting into a taxi. She was en route to Fayetteville, Arkansas, but she never arrived there. And there's no record of her cab fare. She's never been heard from again.
I was like,
since
did a
then.
taxi actually come to the address and
Mm-mm.
pick someone up?
That's what they said. There was no record of it.
So
So
no record of taxi ride, period.
right.
Okay.
So Patsy did enjoy traveling. And, in 1987, she would make some visits, sometimes unannounced, to she would go to Memphis, Tennessee. She would go to Hot Springs. She would jet over to Texas and Oklahoma. And,
So she was just kind of like,
yeah. So
you know what? I feel like getting out of here for a
she's
minute.
like, we're not married anymore. We live together, but I'm going to go do my thing.
Yeah.
So she would travel some.
Cool.
Which would make a good alibi, I guess. But authorities have found no indication of foul play in her disappearance, but her son believes otherwise. He said it was suspicious because she lived off of her Social Security checks, but when she went missing, she had never picked her Social Security check up.
Mm-hmm.
And this was in 87, so you got a paper check.
Yeah, you got a paper check for sure.
So, and then you had to go to the bank and cash it or put it in your account. So she never picked that up. That was her only source of income. There was a little update because her son has a Facebook page.
Okay.
So he tries to put out some information and what happened, but again, they have no leads. They have nothing.
Right.
So he had put on his page, there's currently 484 people missing in Arkansas. And one of those is his mother. And he's been looking for stuff for decades. He recently discovered another clue that might get him one step closer to cracking this case. He said, imagine looking for answers 29 years. Friday will mark the anniversary of the day that he began searching for his mother. She was a loving mother. She cared about all of us children. There were 6 of us. She was a stay-at-home mother. On March 4th of 87, he got a call saying that, from his sister that his mother, Patsy, had gone missing from her home on Sunset Lane in southwest Little Rock, Arkansas. He said, my father says my mother left home in a taxi cab. He got the cab number, the company, and supposedly that was investigated. But today, as I sit here right now, I don't believe that. So over the years, Clark said things just didn't add up. There's no record of cab fares. No cabs were dispatched to the residence. Clark said, I've gotten more articles that pertain to missing persons, especially those in the state of Arkansas. Since the beginning of Patsy Clark's disappearance, David has been on a mission to put together the clues piece by piece. And then he also found that, she had depended on her Social Security check, and that was her livelihood. So he said that April and May, she went missing in March.
Right.
April and May of 1987, someone got those 2 checks. She's missing. She's been gone. Someone got those 2 checks and cashed them.
They should be able to have some sort of record for that. There's got to be a signature.
And but again, it's jazzy. 87. It's so if I think back to 87, which I mean, I was a kid, but still
So she went from not picking them up to someone else picked them up,
because she didn't pick up her one in March when she disappeared, but then the April and May one were picked up and cashed. So there's still that. So he says that I hope and pray that she's still alive somewhere. I hold on to that hope, and that's all he can have right now. But he's still out there searching, and he's trying to put together information. But if you have any information, again, call the Little Rock Police Department at 501-371-4636. So,
well, hopefully someone hears it and knows something about one of the 3, All of the three. That would be really
all of
cool.
them would be great, yeah. But I'm saying, like, a lot of these are just in the stagnant area of cold cases where
Nothing's happening.
nobody's covering them because there's so little information about them.
Mm-hmm.
But you can look up her Facebook page under Patsy Clark, and if you have any information, absolutely contact them, share it, call the number, and maybe I'll do another one of these later on and pick another state and
sprinkle them in.
Yep, sprinkle them in. Just get a couple in there, here and there, and let them have a voice. They don't have a voice right now.
So. Yeah. I mean, their families,
mm-hmm.
they're kind of just sitting there doing the same thing. Like, don't forget about these people.
Mm-hmm.
But that's all they can do is keep saying, please don't forget.
Mm-hmm.
Please don't forget.
And then the police give them nothing. They have no leads. They have no clues.
And they have nothing to give the police because they've given everything they've got. Mm-hmm. So that's tough.
Yep.
I still think her ex-husband's a liar.
Yeah.
I don't even have to know him.
I know. I'm like, that one, I was like, As soon as they said, oh, she left in a taxi, I was like, oh, okay. But no taxi was ever dispatched to their home.
Yeah.
I'm like, sir, you have to lie a little bit better than that.
Yeah. I mean, at least if you think that's what you're using for your alibi, you should probably at least call the taxi and have them come.
And then they'd be like, oh, yeah, it was dispatched. Well, where'd she go? I don't know.
She had me call for it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I assume she got in it. I don't know.
Yeah. Crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Guess he was busy.
Yeah, he was just busy.
Couldn't get to the phone.
He was busy waiting for those checks to come in so he could cash them. Huh? But I mean, like back in the day, like I don't even know if you would have to show your license to cash a check.
I would imagine that you still had to use ID. I would think
some sort of ID, but
yeah. I mean, I don't know what the process for picking those up were. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's possible anybody could have picked it up, but I think I would believe that you would have to show it. I can't.
Like, either they were delivered to your house or they were delivered to the post office as like a.
But I'm like,
a signboard thing.
The thing is if you cashed it, you'd have to have identification.
Yeah.
If you deposited it, maybe not.
Yeah, true.
So, I don't know.
Yeah. It's just one of those crazy ones because I'm like, we live in such an age of technology and
it's weird when you have to go back to when it didn't have these things. It's just like so different.
Like I was mentioning with, first job at Walmart that I had. Yeah. We literally had to use one of those credit card machines where you run over the credit card and make a carbon copy. Yeah. Like you put the card in everything. And like hardly anybody used a credit card.
Right. It was a rare
when
thing.
They did come in, like we had to swipe it and do the little thing.
Everybody
and
wanted to write a check.
Right. It was check or cash, and yeah.
Yeah, and we still got people who run around here want to write a check. I'm like, what are you doing?
No, I just look at them like they're crazy. I'm like,
why do you want to spend 15 minutes standing here?
Right. I'm like, we don't take cheques.
What is a check?
A check. But, back in the day, it was fun to, like, pick the little characters on your check and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I had, like, speaking of Felix, I had Felix the cat checks.
Yeah, that's funny. And then you could decorate your debit and credit cards now.
Mm-hmm. And they also have little sleeves you can put your debit and credit card in. They have one on Amazon that says OnlyFans.
Oh, funny.
And you slide your card in there, so when you use it, it looks like your OnlyFans. and a
that's hilarious.
The little Uno card, the reverse one.
Yeah.
Little sleeves, yeah.
That's a good one. I need it to reverse.
Right. You pay for this.
You pay me for buying it. Oh, my goodness.
We really hope y'all are enjoying all of our crazy stories, and we would love for you to suggest some stuff. Yeah. We did get some suggestions, so we're going to look into those.
Yeah, we're working on that stuff. And there's like, I know Patty's sent us stuff in the beginning that she would like to hear.
Yeah.
And that Jessie would like to hear.
Yeah.
So those are being worked on the back burner because those are going to be a little longer. So
yeah,
but they're gonna happen. Don't you worry.
It's happening.
It's gonna happen.
We're still trying to build our platform here.
Yeah, there's some stuff that just takes longer than others, and so while we're working on those, we try to do stuff that takes a little less time so that we can still be putting out episodes in the meantime. So it's a lot of juggling.
Tis.
Every day I'm juggling.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Let's come out with some stupid song.
We're always thinking of it. It's okay.
Oh my goodness. I'm just sleepy, so
yeah,
you gotta ignore
it happens.
I say dumb things when I'm tired. But anyway, speaking of Patty, our theme music was created by Patty Salzetta.
Yay!
And y'all make sure you go check out Wonderkind Band if you have not done so already.
Yes.
We need to share it on our Facebook.
Yeah, we need to share
Hold My Sweet Tea Facebook.
Absolutely.
So that way it's easier to find her. Because it is W-U-N-D.
Yeah, spelled a little different.
So it's spelled a little different. So if you were looking for wonder as in like the Wonder Years, you will not find it.
No.
So, yeah. And of course, as always, share a link with your friend.
Yes.
Share a link with your grandma. Share
your grandma likes true crime?
With your brother, who might be like Sheep Voldemort or something.
Not the sheep. The sheeple.
Oh my goodness. I have a very unfortunate sheep story that I'm not going to share here, but I'm going to tell you after.
Okay. It's all relative to the size of your sheeple.
Ew, no. Off the tracks we go.
Yes, here we go again.
So anyway, also, we are on all the socials. So send us your suggestions there or at our email, steeped@holdmysweettea.com.
Yep. And just continue doing what you beautiful people are doing and stay safe out there. Hold My Sweet Tea is a Drunken Bee production.
Bzzzt.
And just because we're dipping doesn't mean you can't keep sipping. Bye.
Bye.